Okay, hello, internet world. I don't know if this video will cut off because my computer is almost full, but I moved some files around, deleted some shit, so maybe I'll get one more video, so we'll see. Okay, so where was I? Pompey went out to conquer some shit, I think, or to do something, to show off in some military way. And then, he went to Egypt. I forgot why, to ask for money or to ask for troops or something, or alliance, something like that. And basically Ptolemy was there. And Ptolemy is 14. He's like this skinny little white boy who just sits around and does nothing all day. And it's funny because he kind of looks like that kid from The Ring, you know? And it's funny because, uh, like, I don't know. I'm just at this point. I'm kind of used to Egyptians, like ancient Egyptians, being portrayed as like black, or at least like darker, like kind of Indian looking, or maybe kind of Sicilian, you know, something like that, depending who it is, you know. Um, but this boy's just white as fuck, you know, just hella white. And then he's like, I can't remember. Told me he's like comes in, kneels before him. He's got these like really tall dudes. I didn't realize how tall they were until later. You know, these tall, shirtless dudes like standing on either side and stuff. He's like, oh, Ptolemy, please give me aid or whatever. And Ptolemy's like, well, what are you gonna do for me? I think that's what he said. He said something kind of sassy, and then basically it cut away from that, and then basically then Caesar was, I can't remember. Caesar basically got into a rivalry with Pompey somehow, and then he was like, well, Pompey went to Ptolemy. I have to go to Ptolemy. So he went to Ptolemy. He goes there. He kneels before him, and Ptolemy's like, "Oh, you better not ask." Oh, it was for his armies. It was for troops. He's like, "You better not ask for my armies, because Pompey already came here and asked for my armies." And then he's like, "You're too late." Caesar's like, "Oh man." Then Ptolemy goes to his like slave guys. He's like, "Hey, bring out that thing and stuff." And then they bring out this like silver platter, like a cap on it. They take off the cap, and it's like Pompey's head. And then Caesar's like, oh, you know, all that. And then, according to the scholars, it's really funny because I feel like they interviewed the scholars first, and then they kind of made the script based on what the scholars said in the interviews. Because they pull things like directly from what they said, and even when the scholars say like, "Oh, this is only like you know, like a theory or whatever, like it's not accepted by everybody, it's just kind of what we think," like they play it out like in the show, so it's kind of funny. But anyways, so they're like, "Oh yeah, Ptolemy was probably trying to impress Caesar with his like power or whatever," but Caesar was like not into it. That's what they said. I don't know how anybody knows that. Maybe somebody wrote it down in Papyrus Diary or some shit. But anyways, so then Ptolemy's like, well, actually, I think he said something along the lines of like, you have to join my army, like table of turned or something like that. Caesar's like, no, and then Ptolemy's like, well, I don't take no for an answer. And then the really tall guy, this is what I'm talking about. I realized they were really tall, or maybe the guy who plays Caesar is just little, because even though he's like kind of beefy, like he's not as jacked as Commodus was, but he's still, you know, all these guys are like athletic at least, you know, and stuff. And so, despite you know being solidly built, maybe he's kind of little. I don't know, because he basically only comes up to like these guys' shoulders, or maybe the guys are just really tall. I don't know. Who cares? But the Egyptians grab him. They drag him off and they put him in this little cell, and then next thing you know, he's just like in his t-shirt. But it's funny because they let him keep his like little leather. You know how the Romans, they wear kind of like that little leather belt with like the leather like flanges coming off it. You know, like it's just like a skirt covering basically. It's to make it more robust, I guess. Whatever. It's not gonna save you from a sword or a spear stabbing you in the thigh and making you bleed to death, but you know it's something. Some pieces of leather. You know, so you don't just have cloth. I guess whatever. So they let him keep that. It was funny. I thought they were gonna take all that shit off him because they took all his armor, everything, you know, obviously, but like they let him keep that. I'm like, just take the belt too. Just put him in his little like fucking tunic. Like make him wear his little toga around, his little red toga. That's his thing. He's always wearing red. Red is like his color. When he was in the army earlier, he had a red like bandana around his neck. Basically, it's kind of just like his little like I'm Caesar, you know, like his little identification. And he's always wearing red. That's like his thing. So he's in this room. Apparently, this like you know kind of like Martha Stewart fancy prison room or whatever, where he can just sit around on this bed and write, I guess. But he like can't leave and stuff. And then Then before you know it, and then I think during this time, I can't remember if this is during this time or later, Crassus dies because he was barely in the show at all. Like, he was in the opening credits. Like, in the opening credits is so funny. They have, like, each person, and they put their name, and it's, like, this dramatic music playing. They're, like, with this person, and this person, and this person. You know, it's really funny. But anyways, so, Crassus in the opening, he, like, I don't know, they make you think he's gonna be in the show for a long time, but he's like not. He like gets killed in like episode 2 or 3. So I think episode 2, he's like already out. But basically he was like, once again he was trying to say, oh, I'm a military man, I'm not just some rich guy, but he sucked. And then he went into some territory, I think into the Persian Empire, something like that. I can't remember where it was. But he went somewhere. I think it was east, I don't remember. And basically he was captured and then they like tied him to this fucking thing. Oh, I forgot in the very, very beginning they crucified like hella people. Like, they caught like, they said they crucified like 6,000 people or something and like stood their crosses up like every 100 yards or something. Every 100 feet or every 100 yards, something like that, on like the path from like wherever they were to back to Rome. Pretty fucked up, honestly. And you know what's funny? My best friend, she sent me this like little meme or whatever. It was like a picture of like some aliens looking at like somebody that was crucified and they're just like looking up at this person on the cross and the aliens are just like, we better get the fuck out of here, something like that. But anyways, so yeah, basically, and then whatchamacallit, then yeah, so Crassus gets captured, they tie him to this like board, and then this is like the most brutal scene in the whole like everything, all the episodes of all the seasons. They tie him to this board, they like they have this pot boiling on the stove. I thought it was boiling oil, but they actually said it was boiling gold. And it was molten gold. And then yeah, they tie him up. They put a strap here, a strap here. It's very like lobotomist. It's pretty fucking creepy, honestly. But anyways, apparently they kill him by pouring the molten gold in his mouth, and I guess causing severe burns and slash suffocation. I don't know. It was pretty creepy and weird, honestly. It was kind of like a fucking something you see in Seven or something like that. And they were like, yeah, it was revenge because he was so greedy. They killed him with the thing he loves most, which is gold. I'm like, really? Like, I mean, that's kind of like high class, honestly, of like whoever was killing him. But then nobody said the ancient people didn't have a sense of humor, I guess. So, anyways, Crassus is done. He's out. And, yeah, so, where was I? Right, so Caesar is still kidnapped in Egypt. And, he should be sweating his little white ass off, but he's not. He's fine. He's in this, like, room. And then these guys are guarding him. Then all of a sudden, this, like, Assassin's Creed person with, like, this hood and, like, this cloak and everything comes in with these two, like, fucking, like, cronies or whatever. And they come up with the two cronies, like, in unison, in perfect, like, stealth, like, harmony. Like, cut the, guards' throats and, like, drag them away, like, fucking, I almost said heavy metal, in Metal Gear style. And, yeah, the hooded Assassin's Creed person comes in. Who the fuck do you think it is? It's Cleopatra looking like Megan Fox. And she, like, she pulls her hood off. She's got this, like, revealing top that's just, like, all these, like, strands. Like, kind of like a little crop top that only covers the boobs. And then the rest is, like, just these, like, crisscross, like, knots, like, going down her belly and stuff like that. She's got, like, full makeup on, looking like a fucking, like, red, carpet model, and everything like that. And, she's just like, because earlier they said something about Ptolemy's sister, how they got married, but then they had a falling out and they didn't get along anymore and they were having a war against each other. Oh, that's why he wanted the Roman troops, because he's like, I want to go war against my sister. But Caesar wouldn't say yes. So Cleopatra comes in there. She's just like, I'm a whole lot of woman and I want you to be on my side and stuff. Caesar basically just like, yes, please, get me out of here, and yes to everything else. The Cleopatra's just like, like that. I think she literally does something like that. She's just like, oh, you're like a whole lot of man, and let's defeat my little baby brother and stuff like that. So I can't remember if they kill him or they just defeat him, but they get fucking, you don't see Ptolemy anymore. He's a non-issue after this point. So anyways, then Cleopatra and Caesar lay down on the bed, and he like, they put their legs around each other's backs, and it's just fucking stupid. So anyways, then, basically he stays in Egypt for like a long ass time. And then, but then he's just like, oh, they need me back home. Cleopatra's like, psh, fuck that. They don't need you. Like, stay here, be a king. Like, in Rome, it's like a republic. Like, that's lame. You're supposed to have absolute power. And, like, I have absolute power. I'm a queen. Like, I can fucking do anything I want. I'm like a goddess, bitch. And, like, you should be a god. And he's just like, oh, I don't know about that. She's just like, well, there was kings of Rome at one point. You can be a king. And he's like, I don't know. And she's just like, yes, 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 take the power. And then fucking I can't remember. At some point he goes back to Rome. And then I think it's just because it's not being well run or something like that. Or something like that. I don't know. Mark Anthony's in the meantime just sitting around. Mark Anthony's getting drunk as fuck. Just like me. I need to finish this wine right here. Thanks to my brother-in-law for that. Where was I? Mark Anthony's literally just sitting on his ass and like drinking wine. He's like, I don't know what the fuck to do. I don't know what the fuck to do. Like, I'm putting power here and I don't know. Like, Ptolemy and Crassus are both dead now. I mean, not Ptolemy, Pompey and Crassus are both dead, and he's just like, I don't know what to fucking do. I only know how to fight and like, go on a stripper pole sometimes, and in a dark room where nobody can see like my extra large forehead, my weird smushed down face, like, it's just like I don't know how to do this government shit. He's like, oh, if anybody gets out of hand, just whip him and kill him. Like, I don't fucking know, just whip him to death, okay? Just don't bother me anymore. I need more wine, please. And then Caesar comes back. I think he like, kind of tears Mark Anthony a new one. He's just like, Mark Anthony, what are you fucking doing here? Like, you suck. And he's just like, I know I suck. It's not my fault. You left for so long and stuff like that. I think that's what happened. And then they're like, okay, we're still friends. Then meanwhile, like I said, Brutus grew up. His mom is just like, take the power, and whatever. And then I can't even fucking remember, but what is this? Oh shit. Okay, wait, let me stop this.